Hey guys, we are back with some more New Jersey Devils franchise mode, and in this one, we got a blockbuster trade to make. As our defensive core is not as strong as it used to be when Subban was in his 90s and Falk was, I believe, an 86 last year. Severson was an 85 at one point, now he's down to an 83. Smith isn't growing as expected. He's only an 82 at 24 years of age. Vukojevic kind of topped out where we expected him to at an 81. And, I mean, he's not done growing technically, but he's getting to that age where he's slowing down for sure. And then Bowie and Pesci aren't what they are. But, you know, we don't have a stud defenseman, really, on the blue line at this point. So what we're going to do, we are going to be trading Ty Smith. And the reason for this, we are a kind of team that we need to get it done within the next couple of years, if not this year. Because when you take a look at the guys on our defensive core, you got Falk, 32, Subban 35, Severson 30, Bowie and Pesci 29. Our only real young guy other than Smith who we're trading away is Vukojevic, who's 23. And then after that, there's really not much. We have Zykov, who's a prospect, who's 18. We have Lioncow, who's a prospect, who's 18. He's pretty good. But other than that, there's not much. So I figure with all these old guys on our defensive core, and then as well with Taylor Hall, who's 32, you have Gusev, who's 32, you have Paul Mary, who's 33, you have all these core pieces who are getting up there in age, and as well as, of course, Philip Grubauer, who's 32, Leonard, who's 33. With all these pieces that are moving out potentially within the next couple of years, we're going to need to do some heavy redrafting for sure. And unfortunately, we do not have our first round pick this year because we traded it in order to get Philip Grubauer, which was very necessary because as of right now, he's much better than Robin Leonard, who is only an 81 overall. Unfortunately, he saw a pretty steep drop over the offseason. So as long as we have all those players on our team, you know, Grubauer, Subban, Hall, anyone who's 30 or over, we're considered a team that should be making a run for it. And we should be, because we have the talent to do it. We just need, I feel like we need an upgrade on defense, and obviously if we could get an upgrade in goal, that'd be great. But, you know, looking around the league, there's really not much to write home about as far as goaltenders go. So I feel like our best bet is to just run with Grubauer to see how he does, and to upgrade our defensive core, because there is someone on the trade block who I am very, very interested in trading for. And he would be on the Carolina Hurricanes, and his name is Jaccob Slavin. He's got 1 year left on his deal. I do not believe he has been extended. No, he has not, by the Carolina Hurricanes. He is an 87 overall, and when you take a look at his point production from last year, 47 points, and he's physical too. So he is clearly a huge upgrade from Ty Smith. He's got a lot of trade value on him, but the Hurricanes do want to trade him. So we're going to be getting him on here. And going the other way will obviously be Smith to replace him for the Carolina Hurricanes. And one of our goaltender prospects, Spezza, as they do need a goaltender prospect. And one thing that I noticed around the league is that computer teams tend to have trouble drafting medium elite goaltenders, whereas we already have 3 of them. So I figured we don't need that many medium elite goaltenders. We could give one of them up to a CPU team that doesn't have one. As we go back to Carolina's side here, they don't have a goaltender. They have Jones, they have Cameron. Really brutal. And we are also, you may notice that it says Carolina would have too few goalies. Even though they technically have 3 signed, they have 1 in the CHL. So that is why we have to send another goaltender back the other way, and that will be Evan Cormier. Now, this is not it. It looks like it'll go through, and it probably will, but this is not all we're adding to Carolina's side. So we're going to add one more thing, and that would be our second round pick for this year, because we're going to try to get Carolina's first. So now let's dissect this trade a little bit. So Jaccob Slavin, 1 year left. He probably doesn't want to sign with them. That's my guess as to why they want to put him on the trade block. Now, as for the first, they don't want to give that up, but here's the thing. We're giving them an elite goaltender prospect in Donovan Spezza, who he's only 20 years of age. He's 67 overall. He started out as like a 48 or something like that. He was drafted in the 7th round, so he's seen some tremendous growth, and he played in a men's league for the past 3 years, and he actually had a really good save percentage there in year number 2 with a 926. And they're getting Cormier, who could serve as a backup for them this year, given that, again, they have very, very minimal goaltending over here with Jones and then Cameron at 74 overall. And then they also get a second-round pick to replace their first-round pick, so they're moving down from their first to the second, so they're not losing too much there. And they're also replacing an expiring Slavin with an expiring Smith. However, Smith is a lot younger than Slavin, and I believe Smith, if I'm not mistaken, will still be an RFA after this year, so they could tender a qualifying offer even if they aren't able to sign him for some reason. So I'm going to hope that that first-round pick is going to be a lottery pick, because there is somebody in the draft this year that I think we desperately need. And he is going second overall, but he's a defenseman. We've been picking a lot of top 4 defensemen, so, you know, Lankow, previously we had Zhamnov, you have Smith who's going the other way, you have Zykov, but we don't really have that medium elite defensive prospect, and there is a defensive prospect going number 2 overall, supposedly, in the draft this year. So I want to see if we can get really lucky, not only with the Carolina Hurricanes potentially dropping out of the playoffs, but with their first-round pick being a lottery pick, because once again, we don't have a pick of our own, and even if we did have a pick of our own, we wouldn't be the ones, you know, who would be in the position to have that pick be a lottery pick unless we somehow miss the playoffs, which it's obviously not our intention to. You know, we're providing them with something that they desperately need in a prospect goaltender who is growing very fast. He's a 67 overall, a young defenseman who they can sign after this year if they want. And as well, it makes sense on our side to get the first round pick, because Slavin, we don't know if he's actually going to re-sign with us, and we're giving up pieces such as Smith and a medium elite goaltender prospect. So it makes sense to get the first round pick back, just to say, just in case Slavin doesn't sign, we still have that first round pick to lean back on. So Smith, Spezza, Cormier, add a second for Slavin, add a first. It's a lot to process, but I think this makes sense. Proposed trade, it is rejected, and it is not sufficient at all, apparently. Okay, I thought that would have been fair, but I guess it might be that second round pick, that first round pick that's really throwing them off. So what I'll do here, I think I'll retain some of Smith's salary. I mean, we can't do too much. We're going to try retaining 7% currently of Ty Smith's salary, so we have exactly $0 available. So I'm going to see if that is what they needed to help this go through. I don't think so, because it's only for 1 year, right? But you never know. We'll just try it. So with that, we will be adding another pick. We'll add a third round pick for this year, because I really want that first. I want to see if that turns into a lottery pick, because we desperately need an elite defenseman. So let's see if this works. Smith, Spezza, Cormier, a second and a third for Slavin, add a first. Still rejected. We are too far off. Man, this is going to be tough. So instead of our second, we'll trade Chicago's second, because I believe we put our second on the board before. And you know what? As a matter of fact, we'll just trade both seconds, because the second and third didn't work. And we need to put Cormier back on there. So Spezza, Smith, 2 seconds, and Cormier for Slavin at a first. Still too far off. It's probably that first that's doing it for them. This trade's getting really dicey. Oh man, I'm trying this here. Smith, Spezza, a second, a third, and Robin Lehner. Now the reason that we have to put Robin Lehner on there is because of the cap issues that occur when we put Ekholm on here, who is another part of the deal going back the other way. He's a 74 overall, still making $5 million, only for 1 year. And Leonard, if this goes through, I thank you for your contributions to that year 2 Stanley Cup winning team, but it is time to move on for sure. So Smith, Spezza, a second, a third, and Leonard for Slavin, a first, and Ekholm at 43% of his salary. Will it go through? No, it will not. All right. So it's probably the retained salary on Ekholm that they're not a fan of. You know what? That first round pick is really complicating things, so I just took it off. We'll just go straight up Smith and Spezza, and then Cormier for Slavin. I know there's a little bit of risk involved with this, since Slavin may not want to resign, and there's also a pretty good chance that we're going to need to completely blow up our defensive core within a couple of years anyway. So we'll just go Smith, Spezza, and Cormier for Slavin. Proposed trade. There we go. Done deal. So now our new defensive core looking like Slavin and Falk, two buddies from Carolina, back together. And the second pair, Vukojevic with Subban, and then Bowie with Severson. That's looking a lot better than when Ty Smith was on the third pair with Bowie. And I could not find power play time, oddly enough, for Slavin, so we got him on the first line penalty kill, and as well as the first line defensive pairs. So he's getting a good amount of ice time, and obviously that makes us a much deeper team, at least for this year. And obviously, once again, now that we traded Smith, we are a very, very old defensive core. I think our youngest guy is Vukojevic, who's 23. And then after that, immediately jumps up to Bowie, who's 29. Then 30 is Severson. Falk is 32. Subban's 35. And then Slavin is 30 as well. And he needs a contract extension after this year. So, I mean, we're going for it. If it doesn't work out this year, then we're probably going to have to do a little bit of a retool with our defensive core for sure. So with that being said, we will get going with year number 6. But before we do, we have a couple of signings and a trade to make. And it's not going to be anything big. So first, we are going to sign our prospect, Vladimir Bykov. He's a 79 overall. I'm going to start him in the AHL just to see what kind of growth he gets, because I feel like he's played enough years in Russia now to make the jump over to the AHL. I want him to get some experience on North American ice. So one thing I did not take into account when signing all those players, we can't even sign our rookies right now. I just tried to go and sign Bykov, Dietz, and Kulp. None of them signed because we can't afford them. So I'm thinking about a trade here that involves moving Robin Lehner, and there's no avoiding it. We have $0.2 million in salary cap available. We need to get those rookies some ice time, especially Bykov, who is a 79 overall now. He needs to get some North American ice, and moving Lehner's contract, this is the only move that even makes sense, besides maybe moving someone like Pesci, but at $1 million to be a backup defenseman, that is pretty much a steal for an 81 overall, especially. So I think, yeah, Lehner, you done us good, bud, but it's time to move on. Thank you for that Stanley Cup in year number 2, but we have got to trade his salary to get our young guys some playing time. So, as a matter of fact, we will just go for the find trade function here. No trades found. Okay. So let's try to find a trade with just Lehner on it. Wow. You absolutely hate to see it. So the Vancouver Canucks do want Lehner. They're a rebuilder, but they want him, and they can afford him, more importantly. So I think what we'll do here is we will... I'm not going to take DiPietro. That is a... Wow, that is a terrible contract. What we'll do, we'll just get a draft pick on here. We'll get... Honestly, we'll get like a 5th back. I hate trading Lehner for scraps, but with his contract and his overall and his performances during the past couple of regular seasons, this is kind of what he's worth now. Thank you for all you've done, Lehner. Proposed trade. Wow. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to move this. Even though it's only 1 year left, we'll try a 6th round pick. Again, I hate doing this, but we need to free up cap space to play guys like Bykov and then give other prospects some playing time in the AHL. Proposed trade. Wow. It's not working. I don't think a 7th will work either, to be honest. Let's try it. We might have to trade for a 7th for like next year or something. I'm going to see if this goes through. Proposed trade. Oh my goodness. Robin Lehner, what happened to you, man? We can't even get a 7th for next year for him. Oh no. We might honestly have to include a pick with him just to unload this salary. So let's try... Let's just try swapping 6ths here, and then we give him Lehner. I don't think this will go through, to be honest, but we'll try it. Wow. If we gave him LA's 4th. I'm just curious. If this doesn't go through... Okay, this does go through. Can I get a 5th back? Because again, I hate trading Lehner for scraps. Because this is basically what we're doing. I mean, we're giving up more than we're getting. But we need to unload this salary. And as much as he's done for us in the past, we gotta move on. Proposed trade? Alright, that'll go through as well. I'm sorry, Lehner. You done us well. But again, it's time to move on. So there you go. You saw the trades we were trying to make. We tried trading him for a 7th for next year. That wouldn't even go through, so we had to include that draft pick with him in order to free up the cap space, in order to sign prospects like Bykov. So we are going to make some roster moves here, and for right now, we're going to have to call up Stallberg, although we will sign a goaltender for cheap in free agency, who is a little bit higher of an overall than Stallberg, hopefully. So now we will sign Bykov. There you go. And Dietz as well. And Culp. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's too many serviceable backups in free agency either. There's a 77 in Lindgren, but that is about it. So we might have to make a trade for a backup as well. I mean, Leonard would have been our backup, but he's way too expensive for a backup. I was hoping this part of the video wouldn't take any more than like 2 minutes, but this part of the recording has already taken over 10 minutes. Perfect. WWSY from Calgary, only making basically minimum salary. I'd imagine that means he's had some pretty awful performances, but you know what? That's fine. We need to save as much money as possible, and he's on the block, so he will be pretty cheap to trade for. So I think, honestly, we might even be able to get him for as cheap as his 6th round pick. Let's see. Proposed trade? No? Okay. We'll try 5th. We'll throw in Vancouver's 5th. So proposed trade? No. Okay. How about instead, we'll just send a prospect goaltender back the other way. We'll send Klein. 49 overall. We got that medium starter potential, but we need someone who is going to be our goaltender for this year. And to be honest, I'm not going to cheese this trade by adding in a draft pick on Calgary's side. Even though the value's in their favor, it's not like Klein's really going to be much anyway. I mean, he's 18, but he's 49 overall with the medium starter. How often do you see goaltenders with the medium starter who are that low overall turn out, right? So proposed trade accepted. There you go. So there you go. We now have a much cheaper backup in Laurent Brossoit. And so one more trade that we need to make in order to clear up the logjam that is currently in the AHL to make space for Bykov, Dietz, and Culp. We need to trade Holscher and Griffith for some picks here. And you know what? We may as well trade with Vancouver because they only have 35 contracts anyway. So we'll try, what we'll try to do, we'll get, I'd say, let's try a 4th for these two guys. Proposed trade. Rejected. All right, that's understandable. We'll try a 6th. You know what? We'll try for the 7th as well. We may as well. Proposed trade. There you go. So down here in the AHL, you have Pushkarev, Bykov, and Studenich on the first line. Then you have Clark, Solani, and Pakila on the second. Then Culp, Pierce, and Dietz on the third line. And then Saraceno, Imanen, and Osgood on the 4th line. I believe this entire 4th line is, they're unsigned. And as for the defense, you have Bernard with Jacobs, White with Grillo, and then Korpin and Nidimäki. I would imagine those are players that the AHL squad signed. Yes, indeed. And in goal, you have Caleb Wingels and Petri Karpainen. So now that we have sim past preseason and we have also sent the scout out, we will get up to our first home game against the Edmonton Oilers, and we will do a commentary third period against them. But first, we have games against Arizona and Winnipeg. First game of the season against Arizona is a 5-3 loss. Then it's followed up by a 4-0 win against Winnipeg. Game against Edmonton coming up. So a change of plans here. Besides the 2 goals that happened in the third, that game was really, really boring to watch. So we will instead be facing the Arizona Coyotes in a commentary third period. So let's do it. First period, we have a 2-0 lead for Arizona. Hinostroza and Ekman Larson on Grubauer. Second period, there you go. We have a competitive game here. Lundell on Kemper. We have a game here. Let's hope it's a good one. So here we go. Game. Third period, I should say. Against the Arizona Coyotes. First line out there. Nico wins it back. He gets it back from Slavin. Nico in himself. And he gets it back from Falk. Nico. The shot. Not too dangerous for the Arizona goaltender as Kemper had to make the kick save there on Hughes. Keller. But the shot, that's also saved by Grubauer. Slavin for Hischier. Up for Hall. Hall dumps in the offensive zone. Ekman Larson will meet it as Hinostroza takes it up. Hinostroza Stays onside as Schmaltz will pick it up and is just being turned over like crazy right now as Hischier will get it from Slavin. Hischier finds Bratt with the shot. That was a laser, but it missed the net. Chychrun to Tellqvist. Tellqvist, number 94, Arizona, along the boards, being harassed by number 73, Slavin, but taken by Gusev. Boqvist. He tried to fight Gusev, but intercepted by Tellqvist, I believe that was. Kessel for Arizona finds Schmaltz. Schmaltz tries to turn back, and Bratt intercepts it. Bratt, with 12 minutes remaining, gives it to Gusev. Gusev with the shot, and that is a save by Kemper. Tellqvist still out there for Arizona. He dumps in, presumably going for a change, as Subban will try to get it up, but could not on the initial attempt, and does finally on the second attempt to Gusev. Back for Subban. Boqvist still out there for Vukojevic. Back to Subban. Boqvist tried to center it for Gusev, but taken by Stranges as Pulik. And a bunch of passing going on right now. I can't really keep up with it. Dvorak for Arizona with the shot, and Grubauer with the shoulder save, I believe that was. Bajin, Lundell, and Bellows out there against Stranges. Dvorak and Bergeron, apparently. Severson up for Bellows. Bellows will dump in from the neutral zone. He'll chase down Dineen as Dvorak takes it for Arizona. Dvorak in the zone, tried to find his teammate, but finds Lundell instead. And Severson off the intercept. Gets it to Bajin as he dumps in. Dineen will meet that on the other side of the net. And Stranges for Arizona into the offensive zone. Board play here by the New Jersey Devils as Hughes will get that from Lundell. Hughes circles back and tried to find Bellows and does. Hughes with it again. Dumps in. Dineen once again on the other side of the net for Anderson. I believe that is Joey Anderson. Traded for him, or we traded him from our team in order to, I believe, clear up cap space. I don't know, it was a while ago. At this point, I believe it was 3 years ago. As Ekman Larson behind the net for Anderson, former New Jersey Devil. 55 seconds left in the third. Can we get possession of it? Anderson. Back to Chychrun. Chychrun dumps in. Arizona playing very conservative right now. Pretty smart of them. Ekman Larson to force back a Carlson. And a shot by number 20 as Grubauer has to reach back for it. My goodness. Alright. It's a good thing we got a face off there because Arizona, they had all the momentum. We got to get something going here on this face-off. Dubé, Zacha, and Palmieri. You are down by one, coach. You need to get the first line out there. I mean, I know they're just on, but still, call a timeout or something. Hinostroza for Schmaltz. For Hinostroza again. They're just passing it around until they win, aren't they? Slavin, 20 seconds remaining. We need to do something with this opportunity. Dubé. Come on, coach. Get the first line out there or something. Falk with the shot. And Kemper with the save. Oh, man. Alright, at least Nico's out there as the extra attacker. Get the puck to Nico or Palmieri or Falk. Not Dubé or Zacha. Watch, one of them scores. One of Dubé or Zacha scores the game-winning goal. Or, not game-winning goal. Game-tying goal. Face-off pushed. And won by Arizona. Or tied up, I should say, and the empty net for Arizona will make it a 3-1 game with 5 seconds remaining. That should just about do it. And as we get back to the simulation, Taylor Hall has been injured with a wrist sprain until October 24th. That is unfortunate. That's about a week away, I believe. So we're going to have to get Gusev up there on the first line, and then we will get Palmieri on the second. And then there on the fourth line, for right now, we're going to have to get Zetterlund in there. And Madison Bowie injured with a mild concussion until October 25th. That's a few days away. We will get, for the first time in almost 3 years, at any kind of professional hockey league, Brett Pesce. He did not play any games last year or the year before. And the last time he played was in the 2022 season, which again was year number 3, I believe that is. Wow. Yeah. And he didn't even play in the AHL. This is his first professional game in 3 years. And Taylor Hall is fully healed, so we'll take Zetterlund out. But first, we will move Palmieri down to the 4th line. Gusev back to the 2nd, and Zetterlund out in favor of Taylor Hall. And Ricky Dietz injured with a pulled groin till November 4th. We will just replace him. He is in the AHL. He's a prospect. Madison Bowie is fully healed. Let's see how Brett Pesce did in his first couple of games back in the pros. Or actually, 1 game back in the pros. But look at that. Look at that. That gap is impressive. Only 8 games in year number 3 is now year number 6, and this is his first professional game in that amount of time. My goodness, I almost feel sorry for scratching him here again, but you know, we kind of do have to play Bowie, as he is getting paid quite a bit of money, and he also had 8 hits in 8 games played. On the other hand, maybe we should maybe we should dress Pesce, because ever since we put Bowie back in, we're on a 3-game losing streak. So we are 6-6 in October. We lost that first game against Arizona, then a couple of wins against Winnipeg and Edmonton, then 2 losses in a row against Detroit and Arizona once again, then 4 wins in a row against Boston, Pittsburgh, Washington, and Winnipeg, and then 3 losses in a row against Ottawa, Carolina, and LA. So in a bit of a weird spot right now. Definitely not the worst spot, but we could be doing a lot better. So you know what? I think we will get Mr. Brett Pesce back in there just to see how he affects the simulation compared to Madison Bowie. Because if he affects the simulation in a positive way, then we're going to keep playing him, obviously. And then that may free up the opportunity to clear Bowie's cap, which is at a $3.5 million for 2 years. Now, I don't regret that signing, at least not right now, but if it comes down to it, Madison Bowie, if he is scratched for the majority of the year, might be someone who we trade. So let's take a look at how our guys are doing so far. Hughes with 14 points, Nico with 13, Hall with 7 so far, Bratt with 6, Bokus with 5, Gusev with 8, so the second line is pretty decent at the moment. It could be doing better, but they're at least not off to the slow start that they were last year. Bajan with 3, Lundell with 4, Bellows with 4, Dubé with 5, Zaka with 2, and Palmieri with 8 assists there. So I'd imagine at least a few of those are on the power play. Well, only 2 of them. So 6 assists, 5 on 5. And on defense, you have Slavin with 7 points, Falk with 2, Vukojevic with 2, Subban with 5 assists, Pesce with 1 game played still, and Severson with 2 assists. Now this is the part I'm really interested in. Goaltenders, Grubauer with a 9-16 in 11 games so far. Not too shabby, especially for what we've seen as of recent for goaltending in this file. The average save percentage, I would say, is a 905, so 9-16 really looking good right now. And unfortunately, I can see why WWSY was on the trade block for whoever he was playing for there in, Calgary. Not a good save percentage in 1 game played. Obviously, that's only 1 game. He still has the chance to turn it around, but I could see why the Flames let him go for cheap. So we're going to check out the team stats here. Goals for per game, we are sitting at a 2.92. Goals against per game, we are sitting at a 2.75. So not bad. Top 3 in the division. Power play, we are at a 22.2%. Top 2 in the division. You love to see it. Penalty kill, we are actually, even though it's only a 78.8, we are still top 2 in the division. Okay. Yeah, that just shows how much goal scoring has gone up in this save file at least. So I think with Pesce in there, we could keep going for at least a couple more weeks. We'll see how everything turns out. So with Brett Pesce in the lineup, I don't think we have lost in regulation yet. Because his 1 game, I believe, was here against Washington. That was a 3-0 win. And now, the past 3 games that we've had him in the lineup, Calgary, Edmonton, and San Jose, we haven't lost in regulation. So we're going to leave Pesce in there for right now. And now I have to send out the scouts, so give me 1 second here. Nikita Gusev has something to talk to you about. I am sorry for how I am playing out there. Right now, he doesn't think he is performing to the best of his abilities. I wish I could see, from this screen, what his point totals are and how many goals he has, you know, because I haven't checked the stats out recently. The last time we checked, I thought he had a pretty good point total for 12 games. He had 8 points, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. He has a good track record of being able to keep pace with at least 70 points per season. So you know what? I'll persuade him. He's a very good player. I'm confident he'll be able to get out of it. So after another month of simulating, we are 12, 10, and 2. We're currently, I believe, sitting in a wild card spot. Yes, we are. We are 2 points behind the Islanders and Flyers and 4 points behind the Hurricanes. So a divisional spot definitely is not out of the question at this point. But we definitely need to get on a better pace than what we're on right now. So we'll check out the player stats and then we'll end things off. Forwards, you have Nico with 24 points in 24 games, Hughes with 23, Hall with 19 and 21, Bellows with 18 in 24 games. Wow. Palmieri on the fourth line with 16 points in 24 games. How's that for depth scoring? Gusev with 14 and 24, so he did slow down a little bit. So I guess that maybe that's why he came to us with that concern. But still, I wish I could see the stats from that screen. There's no way to do it either. You have to either agree or persuade. Lundell with 14 points. Boqvist only with 11, unfortunately, so far. Bratt only with 11, so that second line is kind of slow at the moment. Dubé with 10. Bajan with 9. And then there's Zaka with 7. Zetterlund with 0 in 3 games. Face-off percentages, you have Lundell with a 56.2. He is definitely the most improved out of anybody face-off-wise. Because last year he had a 49.88. So far this year he has a 56.16. Incredible. Zaka with a 54.4. Nico with a 54%. And Dubé with a 52.4. Does he actually take faceoffs? No, that's Zaka for the fourth line. Who takes faceoffs as well? Boqvist does. 49.8. Okay. Not bad. I mean, you could round that up to 50%. So if you do, everyone's at least a 50%. Hit-wise, you have Hall with 37, Nico with 36, Bajan with 32, Hughes with 28, Palmieri with 24, Bellows with 20, Dubé with 19, Zaka with 17, Gusev with 15, Bratt with 12, Boqvist with 12, Lundell with 9, Zetterlund with 3. Defensive ratios, Bajan is great so far, 27-13. He is looking like he could be a takeaway artist in the making. I know last year wasn't great, but so far this year, he's looking fantastic. So if he keeps that up, he might find himself on the penalty kills sooner rather than later. Lundell, he's all right. Hall, he's doing well. Nico, even. Bratt is good. Hughes, good. Gusev, good. Palmieri, Boqvist, Dubé could be better. Bellows is good. Zaka could be better. Zetterlund, that's only 3 games played, so not going to judge that too hard. Defensively, you have Slavin with 14 points, Subban with 10, Falk only with 7 so far. Yeah, our defensive core is really getting up there in age. Subban, unfortunately, doesn't have that all-star talent at the moment. I mean, he's getting less ice time this year than he has in years past, but it's really, his age is starting to show a little bit here. Falk with 7 points, Vukojevic with 6, Pesci with 3 in 13 games. He's a +7 as well. So it's a good decision leaving him in the lineup for right now. Severson with 3 and Bowie with 2. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the pairing of Subban and Vukojevic is working out defensively. -8 and -7. That is unfortunate. As we take a look at hits, Slavin with 45, Subban with 43, 36 for Vukojevic, Severson with 24, and then Falk with 15, Pesci with 13, Bowie with 9. And takeaways to giveaways, all I'm looking for is a 2-to-1 ratio, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like too many guys have that besides Severson. Subban has it as well. Pesci has it. Falk, unfortunately not. Bowie, unfortunately not. So Severson and Subban and Pesci are all good, but Vukojevic, Slavin, Falk, and Bowie turning over the puck quite a bit. And Slavin also with a fight. And goaltenders, let's see, Grubauer with a 902, Brossoit with a 902. So, man, I don't know what it is with goaltending in this file, but it just seems like it's a lot worse than it should be. So let's go for a minimum of 10 games here. Let's see all the starting goaltenders in the NHL. Koskinen with a 929, Leonard with a 928 figures. We trade him to Vancouver. He, in 19 games, has a 928. What in the world? I don't get it. Luukkonen with a 920. Maybe it's our systems. I don't know. Because it seems like goaltending is just all over the place right now. There's only 4 guys between a 910 and a 919. In Stankowski, Subban, Kemper, and Knight. And then Samsonov, Vasilevsky with a 909. Gibson with a 908. And then how many guys are below a 900? You have Jones, Comrie, Riddick, Dell as well. Binnington, who's an 85 overall with an 894. Armitage with a 894 as well. Bernier, Pickard, Carter Hart with an 889. Demko with an 889 as well. Hellebuck with an 888. Saros with an 886. My goodness. And Shesterkin, the 90 overall Shesterkin with an 872. That is a yikes. And on the back-to-back Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche, he has that as well. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, this game's confusing me with goaltenders. So we're going to check out the team stats, and then we're going to end it off here, because it has already been quite the episode. So, goals for per game, we are sitting in 4th in the division, 3.25. Goals against per game, we are sitting 2nd in the division, 2.96. So not bad there. Power play, we are currently 2nd at a 26.2. Not too shabby. Penalty kill, 1st in the division, 83.6. So I don't think it's safe to say our special teams don't need to be changed up, but I just wish we were either we just need to be better defensively, or our goaltenders need to improve, but it doesn't feel like it's goaltenders at this point, because every single goaltender that we've gone through has struggled at some point, and that's been the case for 90% of the time that we've been in this simulation. So I don't feel like at this point that it's our goaltenders. It's got to be something with our defense or our defensive coaches or our systems or something. So that pair of Subban and Vukovic is a -8 and a -7. So I might want to split them up. I might honestly put Pesci up here with Subban and Vukovic with Severson. Let's just see how this works, because that pair of Vukovic and Subban, not good as of right now. We could also try to get that second line going, but then again, I don't really want to separate that third line, because Lundell actually has a decent amount of points compared to what he had last year. He already has 14 points in 24 games. He had 32 points total last year. And Bellows, he has 18 points in 24 games. He is on track for, I believe, a career year. So I don't really know how much I want to do with these lines. I mean, you might be able to put Nico or Hughes on the second line, but I don't want to split these guys up either, because that first line is tearing it up. So that second line might just have to figure it out for itself, and we just have to figure out how to win games more consistently. So that'll be about it for this one. Let me know what you guys think of the changes that we have made once again, and I will see you guys in the next one when we continue year number 6.